So I was discussing in the previous session the methodology of finding the solution of the given system using rank method, and we wrote the matrix form as the following. Let me write it once again: 1 2 2 1, and the column matrix was the unknown vector was xy, and the vector b was represented by 1 minus 1. And I talked about, told you that this particular rank method consists of two steps. One is the forward pass method. First of all, we'll try to bring some upper triangular matrix. Step number one is to bring some upper triangular matrix out of it, upper triangular matrix out of capital A. Suppose this is U, A, and from there we are going to find out some matrix which is the row reduced echelon form of the given matrix capital A. It is row reduced echelon form of the given matrix capital A. So this process is going to be applied over here. So let me talk about the process first of all, and then I shall discuss the intricacies of the methodology. So we have this matrix 1 2 and 2 1, and we are going to perform some row operation over here. So first of all, what we are going to do is the following. It is called, what I am going to do is the following. I'm going to keep the first row as it is. I'm not changing the first row. So R1, the row 1 will remain fixed. The second row will be changed in the following manner. The second row will be changed with respect to the first row. So I am going to subtract twice the first row from the second row. So this is my operation, which is R2 minus R1. So we have got this 1 2, and if I do this operation, we'll get, if I multiply the first row by 2, we'll get 2 and 4. So 2 minus 2, that is 0, and 1 minus 4, that is minus 3. That is minus 3. So this matrix is of the form, this upper triangular matrix. So if this is of the form UA, okay, this is the upper triangular matrix have been obtained over here. Now I am going to apply the row operation and column row operations once again to get the row reduced echelon form of the given matrix. Now you do not know what is the definition of row reduced echelon form. I will give you the definition after I finish solving the problem. First of all, let me finish the problem and then I'm going to give you the definition of this. Okay, so since in the methodology, the name row reduced, this word row is written, so I'm not going to apply any sort of column operation over here. That's why in one of my classes I said, probably in the class where I showed you how to find the inverse by matrix, inverse by matrix by rank method, I asked you that I'll be using the row operations only and not column operations. So since the name is row reduced echelon form, I'm going to apply the row operations here on. You see, you just look at it, we have got this element is to be 1 and that element to be 0. I am going to apply the operation in such a manner so that these two elements now doesn't change at all. But if I can, I'll try to figure out if I can change the remaining elements in some way. My objective is to make the element minus 3, the diagonally, which is diagonal to the element 1, to become 1. And we can do it in the following manner. First of all, we can keep the R1 fixed. The new R1, that is 1 2, is fixed. I'm not changing, I'm not going to change it. But the R2 is now getting changed once I divide it by minus 3. So I'm going to change R2 by dividing it by minus 3. And if I do so, we are going to get the following. We are going to get 0 1, which is the equivalent form. Do not write the equality symbol in between, because these are characteristically equivalent. They are not equal. Two matrices are equal if their corresponding elements are equal, but here the corresponding elements are not equal. They are equivalent actually. Our next job, since these two elements have come out to be 1 1, our next job is to make the element 2 to be 0. As I told you in the rank method, first of all we make it 1 and any other element coming below it to be 0, then I will diagonally move to the right hand side and we do the same operation over here. My next objective is to make this element 2 to be my next element 2 to be 0. So how can I do it? We can perform this operation, but whatever operation I perform over here, I have to keep in mind that already changed elements like 1 0 1 over here, they must not change at all. They should remain as it is. In this manner we have to apply the row operations. Now this can be easily done over here. Here I'm going to keep R2 fixed. I'm not going to change R2. So 0 and 1 will remain there. But here R1 is going to change in the following manner. So I'm going to subtract twice R2 from R1. So we get 1 minus 0, that is 1, and 2 minus 2, that is 0. So ultimately what matrix we have got? We have got an identity matrix kind. So you may ask me this question whether this identity matrix is a row reduced echelon matrix or not. Not always. Identity matrix is always a row reduced echelon matrix, but other than this, other form of row reduced echelon matrices are there. I shall discuss row reduced echelon matrix later on, but let me discuss about the solution of the problem first of all. So we have got a matrix which is, let us consider this matrix to be A prime, which is equivalent to the given matrix capital A. Now there is a theorem, it says that if capital A x b is actually the given system, then if you can find out some equivalent matrix for capital A, if capital A prime is equivalent to capital A, then we can replace capital A by a capital A prime and we do the similar operation over here. Okay, so since these two matrices are equivalent, so in the given system we can replace capital A by this equivalent form. We can do it. We can replace the given system by its equivalent form, and let's try to find out what comes out of it. So now your system AX equal to B, in place of A we are going to write 1 0 0 1, and we are going to multiply this matrix by the column matrix XY, and we are going to equate this. We are going to equate this particular matrix by this one. Now, one thing, just a minute. Now, first of all, yeah, this portion I must talk about. This is not actually. Let me rectify one another thing. First of all, yeah, there is a particular point that I actually missed over here. Whenever I am transforming this system AX equal to B to this system, actually B prime is also going to get changed. Okay, I'm going to talk about that right now. It is very easy to find out. B will not remain as it is, it will change to B prime. As soon as A change to A prime, B will change to B prime. Whatever I have found over here, I am trying to find out. Let me name this particular step is to find, is a kind of checking criteria where I am trying to find the rank of the matrix only, the rank of capital A. Now rank of capital A that I'm going to find over here by this operation. Now rank of capital A is, what do you mean by rank of the given matrix? By rank we actually mean rank of a matrix, we actually mean the number of independent columns. The number of independent columns. This is called the rank of the matrix. Number of independent columns. Now, if the word independent, you'll get to see. I'll again show you. rank of a matrix, number of independent columns. The word independent column, the word independent, you will understand once I proceed with further sections on the vector space. Right now, we are not going to understand what do we mean by independent. Here, independent has a special meaning over here in this sort of mathematics. You can think of the total number in school days. We came across the definition of rank to be the total number of non-zero rows. So here you see the total number of non-zero rows is 2 even after this transformation. So here the rank of the matrix is actually, the rank of the given matrix is actually 2. Now there is a thing that that I'm going to write over here. It is actually a theorem. It says that if rank of the coefficient matrix, capital A of the system is equal to the number of variables, this implies the system has unique solution. Okay, and therefore this particular system that I'm dealing has a unique solution. We already know that the system has a unique solution. Here the rank of the coefficient matrix is 2, and here the number of variable is also 2. Step number 2, we are going to consider the augmented matrix. I talked about augmentation in my previous class. We are going to consider the augmented matrix of the system. What is the augmented matrix of the system? The augmented matrix is represented by AB. As you can recall, it is represented by AB, and it is given by what we do. We write the coefficient matrix first, 1, 2, 2, 1. We write 1, 2, 2, 1. We put a kind of augmentation. That means particular column is getting added, and the matrix and the right hand side, that is 1 minus 1, it is written over here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly do the same sort of operation on this particular augmented matrix, so that on the left hand side here in this particular place I get A prime, and here in this particular place I get B prime, and let's see what comes out of it. I know already what should be my operation over here. I'm going to apply the same sort of operation as I applied over here to get this particular thing out of it. So my first job is to keep R1 fixed. I'm not going to change R1. So I'm going to write 1, 2 over here and put a vertical bar like this, and this one will also be there. Okay, no change in the first row. In the second row, I'm going to apply this operation. R2 is going to change as R2 minus 2 R1, and we know what is that. 2 minus 2, it is 0. 2 minus 2, that is 2 into 2, that is 4. 1 minus 4, that is minus 3. And here we get 2 into 1, that is 2, and we get minus 1 minus 2, that is minus 3. Okay, so this is the operation that I already applied this operation over there in the previous page. Now I'm not going to change I'm going to apply the operation in such a way so that this column 1, 0 column doesn't change at all. So this can be done easily. We will keep R1 fixed now. R1, I'm not going to change anything on R1 right now at this moment. And we can bring diagonally this element. If you think of this element, I will shift my observation to the diagonally to the right hand side. You can think of this column as the pivot column. So we can shift our observation diagonally to the right hand side. We can change this element minus 3 to 1. For this, what operation I'm going to apply? I'm going to divide, or I'm going to multiply the entire row R2 by 1 by minus R3. So we get 0, 1, and 1. So this element is the new pivot element now, and on the new pivot element, this is the new pivot element. Above this element, there is an element which is 2. We will try to change the element 2 to 0, because every pivot element should be followed. Every pivot element must have zeros below it and above it. Now we are going to apply the row operation in the following manner. Here I'm going to fix R2 as it is, and I'm going to subtract twice R2 from R1. This is my operation, and we get the following. So we get twice R2 means we will get 0, 2, and 2 over here, and 1 minus 0 gives you 0, sorry, 1, and 2 minus 2, that is giving you 0, and 1 minus 2 giving you minus 1. So you see, I have successfully changed the given system. The given system was this was my A and this was my B. I should write it in the following manner. This was my capital A and this was my small b. Now here I have changed the system into the following. I have got, in place of capital A, we have got A prime, and in place of small b, we have got B prime. And I told you that we have to do the operation in such a manner so that the system AX equal to B changes to A prime X equals to B prime. Okay, so now what happens is that is the following. Now, since this is your system, this particular system can now be written as the following. We can write 1 0 0 1. That would be this is your A prime. This is your A prime. That would be multiplied by XY. That is your vector capital X. That is your vector capital X. I'll reply to your question, but I have got your answer question, but I'm going to reply to that after I finish the problem. So we have got our A prime, we have got our X, and on the right hand side we have actually got our B prime, and then we are going to put the values over here, minus 1 1. Now if I multiply the thing, what do I get from here? We get 1x 0y, that is x, 0x 1y, that is y. So a 2 by 1 matrix will be obtained, and that will be equated to minus 1 1, and two matrices are same if their individual elements are same. So we get x equal to minus 1 and y equal to 1. So you see the same equation, the same value of our x and y have been obtained over here. So we know already that this is the solution, and I have shown you that this particular this approach that I have showed you is actually called the rank approach to find the solution of the given system of equation. Before I proceed, I must ask I must reply to the question raised by Niladri. Niladri is asking me that whether I can perform this operation or not, twice R2 minus R1, whether I am able to do this operation or not. The answer is no. The rule is that if you are here, you see you are actually going to change the matrix R1, isn't it? You are going to change the matrix R1. So the matrix that you are going to change the row R1. So the row or column that you are going to change, from there you need to subtract other things that cannot be subtracted. Okay, the row or column which needs to be changed row or column which needs to be changed from them, from it, other row or column has to be subtracted. This is the rule. So since you are changing R1, you will not be able to subtract R1 from here. You can subtract this from R1. This is the answer to your question. So we are not permitted to do this operation. You just remember this rule that I have written over here. The second point is the following. The operation that I have covered over here, this rank operation, is not limited to square matrix only. If the matrix now is square or rectangular, this operation can always be performed. Say for example, now if I give you a system x1 plus x2 minus x3 is equal to 1, and 4x1 plus x2 minus 2x3 is equal to 3. Now this system has now 3 variables, which is not equal to 2, the number of equations. Hence the matrix over here is actually the rectangular matrix, and the matrix representation is the following. If I want to write it in a matrix form, it would be the following: Ax equal to b, which is equal to 1 1 minus 1 4 1 minus 2 multiplied by the vector x1 x2 x3, and this is 1 3. Now since we have already come across the matrix, this particular rank approach, so we are not restricted to square matrices only. Right now I don't have to check what is the value of the determinant, because it is not possible to find the determinant right now. So we can definitely apply the rank approach. We are going to apply the rank approach over here, and let's see what comes out of it. Now, although I have shown these two operations, finding rank of the given matrix A and the transformation of the augmented matrix AB in 2 different steps, so you can directly start with the transformation of the augmented matrix. You don't have to check the previous one, because from the transformation of the augmented matrix itself, you can declare the rank of the given matrix. See, the left hand side of this augmentation is 1001, which is similar to this one, 1001. So you don't have to do it separately. You can start with the augmented matrix, and from there you can declare the relevant portions that will be required to solve the problem. Now, so we are not going to waste time by finding out the rank of the given matrix. We are going to start directly from the augmented matrix. So here the augmented matrix is AB, and it is given by 1 1 minus 1 4 1 and minus 2, and the augmented part is 1 3. So we are going to do the operation as follows. Our first job is to keep this element 1, as I told you many a times. So our first job is to keep it 1 and make the element 4 below it to be 0. So this is my objective that I need to do over here. So for this, the operation that I'm going to play is the following. I'm going to keep R1 fixed. So we are not going to change R1 over here. And if I want to get 0 in place of 4, I can do it. And since I'm going to change R2, so I'm not permitted to subtract R2 from any other row. I have to subtract other rows from R2. That is the rule. So we can do this operation, R2 minus 4 R1. And if I do the operation, what I'm going to get is the following: 4 minus 4, that is 0, 1 minus 4, that is minus 3, and minus 2 minus 4, that is 2, and 3 minus 4, that is 3 minus 4, that is minus 7. Yeah, 3 minus 4, that is minus 7. So we are going to get this particular thing. So 1 has come out over here and 0 has come out over here. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift my observation diagonally to the right side of this column. Okay, this is the rule which needs to be done over here. So what I'm going to do is the following. My next objective is to make this element minus 3 to be 1, and the element appearing below it, above it, to be 0. So my objective is to make it 0 and that to be 1. This is my next objective, for which I'm going to keep my R1 fixed now. So we are not going to change R1. So it is 1, 1, minus 1, and 1. Which one? Which one you are saying? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I got your point. Exactly. It should be minus 1, not minus 7. Yeah, mistake. 3 minus 4, that is minus 1. Yeah, sorry. So we have got this, and thank you so much for rectifying. And we can multiply the entire row R2 by minus 1 by 1 upon minus 3. And if I do so, what I am going to get is the following: 0, 1, minus 2 by 3, and 1/3. Okay, this is the thing that I'm going to get. One extra thing, one extra operation that I'm able to perform over here is the following. I'm in a position to manage this particular element. I can make this element 0. After that, I will not be able to do any further operation. Why? Because this matrix is not a square matrix, and I will not be able to shift diagonally to the right hand side. If I want to do so, I need something over here at this in this particular position, but there is nothing because it is a rectangular matrix. So I'm going to apply my last operation in the following manner. Here I'm going to keep R2 fixed. So I'm going to write 0, 1, minus 2/3 and 1/3. And from R1, I'm going to change R1. So I'm going to subtract R2 directly from R1. So we get 1 minus 0, that is 1, 1 minus 1, that is 0, and minus 1 minus plus, that is 2/3, that is minus 1/3. Okay, so we get okay. I'll say once again. And if I do the same thing, 1 minus 1/3, 1 minus 1/3 will give you 2/3. So we get 2/3 over here. So one particular student wants me to explain the last two steps. I mean, probably he's trying to figure out, he's particularly asking me about these steps. You see that first of all, our basic objective is to fix this element as 1. But here in this particular matrix, the element is already 1. So I'm not changing anything in over here. R1 is remaining as R1. Why is it so? Because I want 1 over here, but it is already 1. So I'm not changing R1. My next step is to make any other element. This element 1 will be called a pivot element. It is called pivot element. Now below this pivot element, if any other non-zero element is there, my objective is to make that non-zero element as a 0 element. So here below this pivot element, we have 0. We had 4. So we made the operations in such a way so that 0 comes over here, and accordingly other elements of the row actually got changed. Once I get this column 1, 0, my next objective is to shift my observation to the right hand side diagonally to the pivot element. So this pivot element we will try to look at the diagonal position of this pivot element. This pivot element diagonally, it is connected to that. But during the operation here, -3 has come out. Now my next objective is to make this particular element. For example, this is the element, this is the element, this is the row that I'm talking about right now. The first non-zero element of the row has to be 1. You can think it in the following manner also. I have not yet explained what is the definition of row reduced echelon form. I'll be doing it in the next class, not in this particular class. I'll not be having time. So in the row reduced echelon form demands that if you have a non-zero row, the first non-zero row, first element of the non-zero row must be equal to 1. So for example, in the previous case, the first row is the non-zero row, but the first element of the non-zero row has to be 1. The second row was this. The second row, the first non-zero element was -3. That is not the requirement of row reduced echelon form. The requirement is that if there is a non-zero row, the first element of the non-zero row has to be 1. So therefore, I'm making it 1 by doing this operation. And since this is my new pivot element, above it, any non-zero element is there, if present, I'm going to make it 0. So I have performed this operation in the following manner. Always, it is the second requirement of the row reduced echelon matrix that the pivot element, if there be any, below that pivot element or above that pivot element, any non-zero element has to be made a 0 element. But I will not be able to do it any further because there is no other rows present over here. So I have to stop it over here. If I want to do it forcefully, so this particular matrix will again change. I don't want to change the form of the given matrix. It has already taken a good shape. It is 1 0 0 1. Now this is my, you can call this particular matrix to be A prime and this particular matrix to be B prime. So we have got our equation. Our equation is thus becoming as follows. We have got 1 0 minus 1/3, 0 1 minus 2/3. I'm going to multiply this particular A prime by the column vector that is x1, x2, x3, and I'm going to equate this particular outcome by the right hand side, which is 2/3 and 1/3. Okay. Now this order of this matrix is 2/3. Order of this matrix is 3 by 1. Order of the first matrix is 2 by 3. The second matrix is 3 by 1. So just a minute. 3 by 1, and here the matrix of order is 2 by 1. So the resultant matrix on the left hand side will be of order 2 by 1. So we are getting the matrix as x1 minus x3 by 3, and the second one is x2 minus 2/3 x3. This should be equated to 2/3, and that should be equated to 1/3. So we have got two equations. We have got two equations. Now, what is the solution? Have I reached to my solution? Okay, let's discuss about it. Now I'm not going to the next page. I'm going to do it on this page so that the thing remains in front of you. Now you see that if I name it 1 and if I name it 2, from equation 1 we can write it as x1 equal to 2/3 plus x3 1/3 of x3, that is 2 plus x3 by 3. This is the form of the variable x1. The form of the variable x2 is 1/3 plus 2/3 x3, which is 1 plus 2x3 by 3. Now this x3 has got actually an independent choice. This x3 has got an independent choice. Okay. If I want to find out x1 and x2, we need to know what x3 is. Again, I must say that you see that from this particular portion of the calculation, that rank of the given matrix is actually 2, which is less than 3, the number of variables, which is less than 3, which is the number of variables. Okay, so rank of the matrix is less than the number of variables. Now the rule says if it is so, then number of variables minus rank gives you the total number of independent choice for variables, independent choice of the variables, So how many independent choices you have here? You have one independent choice. Why? Because x1 has been written in the following manner: 2 plus x3 by 3, 2 plus x3 by 3, and x2 has been written in the following manner: 1 plus 2x3 by 3, 1 plus 2x3 by 3. Now, depending upon the choice of x3, you are going to find out x1 and x2. Since every equation relates to the physical system, and physical system is considering the real variables, so x3 is definitely a real variable. And we can think of x3 to be a variable k, which is a real variable. So we can, in place of x3, we can write 2 plus k by 3, and here you can write 1 plus 2k by 3. The solution of the system thus takes the form. Okay, how many variables are there? 3 variables are there. So solution of the system is, you see, x3 has got the independent choice. So in place of x3, I'm writing k. In place of x2, I'm writing 1 plus 2k by 3. And in place of x1, I'm writing 2 plus k by 3. Where k is actually a real number. K is actually a real number. You can write this particular system in the following manner also, if you want. So we can write it in the following manner also. We can write it as 2, 1, 0, and all the k's together. So we can write k by 3, 2k by 3, and k. We can separate in this manner, where k belonging to R, or you can write it in the following manner also: 2, 1, 0 plus take k common, and you will get 1/3, 2/3, and 1, where k belonging to R. This is the solution space of the system. This is called the solution space of the system, where k has many choices. Number of choices for k is many, and therefore the given system with which we started has infinitely many solutions. The given system has infinitely many solutions. Given system has infinitely many solutions. Two-thirds and one-third. Okay. When k is separated, if you want to ask me this question, you again have to rejoin, because the class is going to end. I'll not be able to reply to your question